Embrace your indifference. Listen up, bro. You don't have to try to be something you already are. For example, if you're trying to be someone who's appealing, who's attractive, who has a wide vernacular, if you're trying to be someone who's kind hearted, kind spirited, just healthy in all areas, right? What you realize is, and honestly, me decompressing and really peeling back layers and just sitting back and watching rather than always having to be in the midst of something or speak on a specific topic. One thing I realize is sometimes silence is power. Sometimes when you don't speak, when you don't give an explanation, when you don't always over exaggerate something for someone else's emotional need or physical need or psychological need, what you start to realize is you start to make life make a lot more sense for you. For an example, right? When you're coming of age, 9 times out of 10, the things that you have learned are a form of programming. You've been learned how to speak a specific way, whether if that's correct or incorrect. You've learned how to eat a specific way, or if that's incorrect or correct. You've been learned how to act and portray a certain image or stigma or whatever the case may be, whether this is correct or incorrect, right? So I digress. The indifference that we all have is our true authenticity. Whether if that's us being very creative, whether if that's being very fashionable, or if that's being very intelligent, or if that's being very self-aware, or if that's being very innovative, or if that's being very notated, whatever it may be, right? We have that thing in all of us, right? There's certain people who are so funny that they can make a joke out of anything, right? There are people that are so self-aware, right, and so tapped into who they are that they could like damn near help you discover who you've been your entire life, and the version of you that's ahead. They could give you the roadmap for that. They may have only known you for the last hour, 15 or 30 minutes, right? But when you have a specific gift and your gift is pulling and tugging at your heart and shaping you in a form or facet, you have no choice but to become that thing, right? Because once again, like I said in my last video, it's like we all came here to serve a purpose. Like we're all here on a mission. We just not here to just be here. And I think ultimately what that means is life is what you want it to be because you shape your own reality, right? Like I said in my last video, embracing your indifference is realizing that I'm not trying to be like what I'm seeing. I'm not trying to be like the things that were taught to me or indoctrinated, you know what I'm saying, and given to me, in the form of information. And all information isn't bad, of course, right? But you got to realize too, like, we're recycling things throughout time, right? So, for example, like, if I'm recycling information that was passed down to me, that information may no longer be relevant in 2026. You know what I'm saying? And that could go for anything. It could go for, how you greet people. It could go for how you handle your finances. It could go for how you treat people. It could be for how you treat yourself. It could be for how you manage things and time and business and etc. Right? But if you never actually break out of that mold of understanding, right, of what's been taught and given to you, and you don't question anything in life, you'll start realizing that you do start becoming a shell of yourself, because we all have that inhibition, right, of it's like, who are we? Who are we supposed to be? What are we supposed to do here? Like, what is our goal? What is what is that thing that gives us that itch, right? And until that thing gets scratched, No matter how much money you're getting, no matter how your diet is, no matter how physically fit you are, no matter how great things may be on a certain specific scale of outside looking in, deep down, you'll always have an inhibition, right? You'll always have this thing intuitively, like, what am I here for? You'll always have this thing intuitively, like, what is my making? What is my landing here? Like, what is my specific characteristic viewpoint on my life? Because once again, it's like, we get money, we get comfortable. We get a specific lifestyle, we get comfortable. We get a specific routine, we get comfortable. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that, because certain people want comfort. And if you're shooting for comfort, this may not be the video for you, right? But what I realize is when certain people are trying to break out of that mold and break out of that standard, most of the time, everything around them starts conforming their ideals. Everything starts conforming their perceptions, perspectives, creative notation, like all of these things. Like, because what's going to happen is when you start breaking out of that mold, that societal glue, as I like to call it, that everybody's pretty much stuck in, what's going to happen is it's like crabs in a barrel. You know, you're shooting for the stars, right? You're trying to reach for a specific thing, and it's like we all just here and we just standing around not doing anything. We just stagnant as a motherfucker. But it's like you trying to go somewhere, and we've been indoctrinated to pull you down because we want you to stay here. We want you to be with us. We don't want you to go and accomplish your dreams and be successful, right? And do everything that your heart desires and everything that God has intended for you. And a lot of times, bro, I realize that this isn't malicious, right? I think a lot of people think like, oh, this is negative. You don't want me to do this. You don't want me to do that. It's just not in alignment. Certain people that you're not in alignment with won't really want you to win. Certain people that you're not in alignment with won't find you attractive, right? Certain people that you're not in alignment with won't be able to tap into a part of your brain, right, that allows you to verbalize a specific way, that allows you to think broader than your surroundings and what you're seeing, right? That's not allowing you to depict a certain field that you want to be in, depict a certain idea that you have, depict a certain individual that you want to be. Because once again, if we've all been programmed to act, to feel, to talk, to exist a certain way throughout time, chronologically speaking, the shit has been passed down like trauma. And when you become that person that actually does it, when you become that person that stands on your authenticity, when you become that person that moves forward and does everything that he says he was going to do, no matter how hard it may be. You know, my slogan is simple, but it ain't easy. No matter how difficult it may be, no matter how, sticky that mold and that substance really, like, you feel me? It's like, bro, like, sometimes it really is that hard to, like, break through a canvas. But it's only as strong as your mental capacity, right? It's only as strong as your dreams. It's only as strong as your manifestations. It's only as strong as your hard work. Because what you got to realize is life becomes easier when you become more of you. And I'm going to put that in perspective too. What I mean by that is when every day you wake up, you confirm to yourself of who you are, no matter what your bank account looks like, no matter what you're seeing in your surroundings. You could be sitting in the middle of the hood with war going on, with all type of dichotomy in politics and etc., right? You can have no source of anything, right? Realistically speaking, future-wise, that's coming to you, right? Meaning, from the outside looking in, if I'm looking at you, I'm like, you're not going nowhere. You know how we judge people all the time, like, we're not human and we don't go through the same things and have some of the same 3D problems, right? But what I'm saying is even in that instance, you don't identify with your problems at the time, right? No matter what's going on in your life, no matter the things that are happening, if you let those things plague you, if you let those things deter you, if you let those things screw you off your path, it's like, how will you ever be able to become what you're trying to become? Because it's easy just to have the money. It's easy just to have no problems. It's easy just to have no adversity, no trial and tribulation, right? It's easy. That's the easy part, right? Because once again, it's like in your mind, you can do whatever you want now because you have no roadblocks. But in reality, you haven't gone through the journey, meaning it's like you haven't gone through the levels of this video game. So how do you know how to beat the game, right? You get your XP by playing the game, right? You level up by playing the game. No matter how many times you may lose a level, redo a level, make a mistake, this is the Matrix. This is a video game. You have to go through the levels. You got to go through the adversity. You got to lose friends. You got to outgrow people. You got to lose money. You got to take risks. You got to go broke again and again and again and again until you actually identify who the fuck you are. Because if you continue to keep letting people, external things, your surroundings, your parents, your friends, all these people, you asking them, damn, what should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I take a piss? Should I take a shit? Should I eat this cracker? Should I boom, 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 boom? You asking everybody how to be you. Nigga, nobody knows how to be you. And this is why people lose so often, because people are trying to, people are trying to figure out how to be themselves vicariously through others and wonder why they never become anything in life. Bro, yes, this life is very simple and it's not that complicated, but this shit ain't easy. If the shit was easy, it would be fucking millions and billions of millionaires. If the shit was easy, bro, the world, like consciousness level, would just be at an all-time high. And to be honest, there's so many people waking up and there's so many people hip and on game that my statement right there might actually have a bit of a rebuttal, because it's to a degree, it's like a 6-7. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those situations that are like, allow yourself to continue to keep confirming. Allow yourself to continue to keep dreaming. Put the work in. Everything that you have is already within you, right? Even these videos, right, are just reminders. I say this shit in all my videos because it's the truth. I'm not saying anything that you don't already know. I'm not giving you perspective that you probably don't already have. I may be unlocking something that was already there. I may be foreshadowing something that's to come, right? I may be just be the instrumentation that you need, right, to get you to where you're already going. But ultimately, everything that the universe, God has in store for you, bro, everything that this world, right, needs you to be, you're going to become that thing. But the more that you keep letting life confuse you, reroute you, unregulate your nervous system, is the more that you're going to start really failing, right? Once again, I never really failed in real life when I was broke. I never really failed in real life, right, when I just didn't have the answers at the time. I just kept digging. I just kept asking questions. I just kept sitting with myself. I just kept reflecting, right? When I was outgrowing people and friends and environments and people, yeah, I was like, what the fuck's going on? I just sat with it. Sometimes you got to sit with certain emotions and feelings. You don't always have to go externally for the answers. You don't always have to go outside of yourself for the answers. You don't always have to panic when things happen. Sometimes everything is unfolding exactly how it should. And most of the time, 99.9999% of the time, that's the case. And you have to stay and endure until the answers reveal themselves, till the life reveals itself, till the truth reveals itself, right? But like I said, family, you're everything that you are already. Please, bro, you get one time to live this life. Whatever you want to be, please get very, very sure about that thing. There's nothing new under the sun. Meaning that anybody in life who was 100% focused on a specific thing and 100% like their biggest fan, their biggest, when I say biggest fan, I mean, bro, we all doubt ourselves, we all overthink, but bro, you gotta be your biggest fan, you gotta be your biggest supporter, You got to be your biggest motivator. You got to be your biggest innovator. You got to be your biggest cheerleader. Because once again, nobody can give you what you can give yourself. Nobody can give you the love you can give yourself. Even if people can, it has to come from you internally. You only attract what you are in your inner world, right? And that means exactly what I just said it does, right? Any relationship that you may have, any friendships you may have, any business partners that you may have, any children that you may have in the near future, right? They are all inner reflections of where you are at that time, right? Meaning there's always room to change. There's always room to advance. There's always room to improve. But realize that everything in this world is reflection of you. Everything that you do is making you someone that you want to be or someone that you would rather be. I love y'all, man. I'm out. Stay focused. Keep going. Believe in yourself. Hey, I'm out. God.